Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XVI, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and more games that start with Final Fantasy. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man. As always, a pleasure to be here with you live, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. This is episode 107. If you're watching on ReadyCheckRadio.com, YouTube, listening on any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Give it a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, turn on the notifications, all the stuff to feed the stupid algorithms. But most importantly, if you like what we do here, tell a friend. Whether it's this show, Gaming Gumbo, or Final Fantasy trading card game streams, or game streams from Tark, Torchwick, Fey Death, myself, share it. Spread the love. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Love. Summer Game Fest today. We're going to get into that. Joining me to do so, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. I am doing good. I found a love, and we talked about this pre-show. I didn't know I needed monster trucks in my Final Fantasy until I started playing 15. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do
monster truck. It's so good.
Also joining us to talk about it, resident mountain owner Paul Berlin, a.k.a. Flynn. What's up, sir?
Hello. If only I could own a mountain. And speaking of monster trucks, wasn't you two gonna do a commercial at one point? I remember from a pre-show a year ago.
What?
That's right.
What was it?
We were gonna do a car commercial, we were talking about car commercials.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we even fleshed out a script, and then my whole move from Washington to Idaho happened. I forgot all about that shit.
I forgot about that too. Yeah, we definitely got to go back and do that. This week, resident artist and host on Gaming Gumbo, Yod, was also talking to me, and he was like, "Hey, you need to set up." He said, "You're closing in on 700 Twitch subscribers. You need to set up your 1,000 followers. Twitch followers. Yeah, 700 subscribers. Shit, I wouldn't have a day job." He said, "Hey, when you get to 1,000, you got to set up your next thing." He went back and he was watching our one chip challenge thing for 500, and he was like, "I've been watching a lot of chili pepper ramen noodle videos on YouTube lately, and yeah, you guys need to do that." And I'm like, "Huh, all right,
chili pepper ramen noodles. Oh my God,
I guess that's what we'll do at 1,000. Everybody just likes seeing us
suffer,
ruin our sphincters.
I've had the bomb, and that is the worst experience of my life.
Yeah,
we could do a hot wings challenge.
And the bomb, but the bomb is just evil.
Yeah, the one chip challenge was fun. Perry was out in like a minute and 13 seconds. I think we went back to the recording to figure out his exact time. He was out a minute and 13. And then I threw, because we were trying to last an hour without drinking or eating, right? And I progressively became okay. Mine was hit me, because I like spicy foods, but obviously that's not like something you would sit there and snack on. So I was hurting for like the first 12 minutes, and then it was a steady burn that got better throughout the hour. But if you go back and watch that, we had it cut by an editor into like a 7-minute thing, and she did a brilliant job on it. I was just too busy, and I was like, I want this to look like not me made it, so let's give it to somebody else. And not impugning my talents, just like I want them to look different. Right? Like this was clearly edited by somebody different. It's not their style. And they did a great job. But if you watch that, it's like Torchwick, my son, just like progressively gets worse throughout the hour.
Oh.
Like when you watch the last like 2 minutes of this 5 or 7 minute video, he just looks like he's dead by the end of it. It's so
you just
fun.
Black transition with "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
Unpopular opinion, challenges are dumb. Different strokes, different folks. That's the great thing about streaming, and I guess we should start there, huh?
Well, I did the one chip challenge too, and I lasted 30 minutes. I did it was really bad the first 15, but I progressively got better. But then my stomach started hurting, and I couldn't do that and stream.
Yeah, so that was the thing.
Throw up.
I like spicy food enough that I never got that part, and that's the part that killed you and killed Torchwick. Is not the mouth; it was the gut. After about 20 or 30 minutes, I didn't have that. Maybe just because I do eat a lot of spicy food, but yeah, maybe.
Right.
Anyway. Final Fantasy XIV, not a lot to talk about on that front this week, actually. Pretty dead week. I mean, we're getting ready for a little bit of an update that just tweaks some things, but 4-5 still, weeks away. People, I assume you guys, we're all doing our extremes, having fun.
Yeah.
Savages, how are those going?
Stuck at limit cut in P9 at the minute.
What about you, Torque?
We got P9 down week 1. It's a good fight. Not too harsh on the mechanics, and that limit cut you can do a multitude of different ways. 10 is just absolutely bonkers crazy. I'm loving it though. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean that's about it on the 14 front, right? Nothing else.
Nothing. No dramas.
I do love the fact
No
that people are cheesing using silly actions again.
Oh, in the Savages?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll always find a way.
To stop being knocked back. I just love the idea.
I mean, for God's sakes, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about one being knocked out with the one healer.
Yeah.
So nothing else happened on the Final Fantasy XIV front.
No dramas.
Like, there was zero, nothing else burned to the ground, was set on fire by someone that likes fire based on their name, but their bio says
could it be a fire mage? Maybe.
I really don't want to talk about Pyromancer. I've just
don't.
Let's make it short and sweet.
I watched the videos, and it's a case of, dude, just shut up, get over it, move on.
Well, so the thing with Pyromancer that I should say first is like I'm just not a fan of the content, and it's not that he makes horrible content. I'm friends with Happy, and I don't watch Happy's stream. Like, I'm not one of, ironically, doing this type of stuff. I'll go and watch State of the Realm. I'll go and watch, the Giant Bomb podcast. I'll go and watch this. It's very rare that I actually am in somebody's stream while they're just gaming and maybe interacting with chat and hanging out.
Sure.
I'll pop in like Ginger Primes or Happies or Slies or whatever every once in a while just to throw support, throw a quick sub to somebody on there, say hi to my buddies. But it's very rare that I'll have like a stream on in the background, just listening to somebody play a game. That's just not my style of entertainment. And that's when Pyro does his YouTube stuff, which is very different. But his Twitch stuff, that's basically what it is, right? Like he had a huge influx of people because this WoW personality came over to Final Fantasy XIV, and everybody likes watching a new player's reactions to the story as they go.
And someone who's deeply invested in lore, since we haven't got Ethis anymore.
Yeah, Ethis was now gone. He was a big lore person with World of Warcraft. I was excited because we were missing Ethis for Pyromancer. But after the story, he just kind of went away from that. Like, I haven't seen many, if in any content lore-wise from him.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into like his growth or decline as a streamer. I think that's totally separate, and you could argue maybe some things happen because you're trying to create drama. I don't think that's what Pyro's doing in this particular case, though. So I get away from that. Like, I don't know him personally. He does the type of streams that I just wouldn't watch anyway, whether I like his personality or not, which I have no opinion on because I don't watch his streams or his YouTube videos or anything like that. So just setting like all of that aside, the hot take this week, or late last week or into the weekend, whatever it was a backlash on Twitter. For those of you that don't know, where short version, people were complaining about ads and big chunks of ads being run. In particular, one person said, hey, 2 or 3 ads is fine, but 8 in a row, I mean, come on, that's a little ridiculous. And he basically, very in a pithy way, just kind of said, you know what, if you're not going to sub to the stream, then don't even bother coming and watching. You're not really supporting the streamer. And yeah, a bad take. Later had a take on it.
Was bad enough.
That one was bad enough, but later had another take to somebody saying, hey, if you're a small streamer with like 3 or 5 people viewing, then you aren't even really a streamer. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't care about your opinion in the context of streaming and revenue and all that. Sorry, not sorry. That obviously led to backlash, as one can predict that it will.
Yeah.
And then it turned into a number of videos on YouTube where these I did watch because I wanted to speak intelligently today about what I was talking about, right? Kind of set up as apology videos that didn't really contain an apology in there.
You're right. Yeah. They were cringy.
And a talking about various mental illnesses, ADHD, which is horribly misnamed, but that's an entirely different discussion, and how that might manifest in adults and some of the troubles he's had with some of those types of things and therapies and medications that he's using to help mitigate some of those symptoms. And a lot of people had the take that it was, kind of blaming mental illness for these outbursts on social media. It led to him shutting down his Twitter. It led to a bunch of reaction videos from the normal suspects, Xenos and Zepla and all the usual suspects.
Yeah.
So I just want to, my 2 cents, because I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Politely to somebody I don't know, saying if you have 3 to 5 streamers or viewers, you don't know what you're talking about, politely fuck off. Okay? Yeah. There are 10 to 20 people watching this show and Gaming Gumbo anytime we go live. I'll get another 100 watching it on YouTube and another 100 listening to it on the podcast platforms. That's as small as you can get, right? I mean, I guess I could have none, but
yeah,
we don't do that here for this. The goal isn't to become Mr. Happy's following and stuff like that. That's not what we're doing. If it happened, great. If it doesn't happen, that's okay too. We do this because we love talking about this shit. And those numbers mean nothing at all for my ability to be able to engage in the conversation about streaming, when streamers do something they shouldn't do, when they're making decisions they shouldn't make. Just because I don't choose to engage in the the Twitch or the YouTube metas for maximum growth at all times above all else, doesn't mean I don't understand those and can't have an intelligent conversation with you about them if you are a 100K follower streamer. Just because I'm not making thousands of dollars off of Twitch because it's my day job and I do it all the time and treat it as a job, doesn't mean that I can't understand time versus investment and the return on that investment and metrics and which ones you need to follow. I can very actively engage in those conversations. Thank you very much. You don't need to have ever taken the NFL field as a quarterback to be able to judge the performance of an NFL quarterback. Politely fuck off on that point.
So many analysts make so much money judging that shit.
On the whole mental illness point, obviously, I hope Pyro gets better.
This is at least the 3rd time he's been in a similar situation.
That's the problem for me. Yeah. That's the problem for me. Tark, if you had like wild outbursts on this show, and I talked to you afterwards, and I said, dude, you can't have these kinds of outbursts on the show. What's going on, brother? And you say, I don't know. I said what came into my mind. As soon as I said it, I knew I shouldn't have said it. I'm going to go talk to somebody. And you went and talked to somebody and found out, as a whatever old man you are, whatever year-old man you are,
old
and
plus one.
And you found out, hey, you have some type of mental illness that you weren't aware of. ADHD, a bipolar, any of those things that might affect behavior. And all of a sudden, you were like, I didn't know I had this. And you issued an apology, and you were like, I was totally unaware. And I'm going to be better. I'm going to try to be better. That was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. Here's what's going on. I just found I'm going to give you a second chance, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Because you were an adult man who wasn't even aware that you had this issue. When you are an adult, that has challenges like those, no doubt I don't want to minimize those. I'm very fortunate that I don't have those types of challenges, at least not yet. Maybe I will later in life. I don't know. I don't now. When you are an adult and you are fully, cognizantly aware through getting therapy, through medications, that there are going to be challenges and what some of those emotional outbursts and those walls that some of us have that prevent us from saying something we know we shouldn't, that maybe you kind of burst through sometimes. When you are actively getting treatment for those, and you do it again and again, I kind of start losing sympathy at that point. Everybody's got shit going on in their life. I have a friend of mine that's bipolar. I've known her since high school, so 20 years. And she once said one of these things to me, and it was coming from her to me. My bipolar does not mean that you walk on eggshells. My bipolar and managing it is my responsibility. And when I can't, or something happens, I don't get to evade the consequences of what I've done simply because I am bipolar. And you're brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. So
Totally agree.
I don't buy it. I hope you get better. I hope you take care of yourself. If that means stop streaming, then stop streaming. If it's going to be a revenue pinch for you or a financial pinch, you got to find a way to make that work, just like if the day job was selling cars rather than streaming. It's, Flynn, what do you think of the whole thing?
Yeah, I've just replied to Carl and Chad. Like, the first time he did this, he had just found out about his mental illness. His wife was ill. It's like, right, you get
yeah.
A lot of that compounds. I get it. I'm a carer for my wife. I know how this stuff goes. But it's literally at least the third strike that I'm aware of. You can't just keep pulling an apology out of your ass that's super half-assed. And, I dipped into his stream and he's still off the same. Like, he's trying to keep on the line.
I wish him the best. I really do. Like, when you have challenges like that, it's hard. No doubt.
I do follow his streams every now and then if I notice he's playing 40 this story related, because you watch him and you get see the passion when he's reading the lore. It's really good energy when it's like, oh, this is happening, this revelation, and getting in his notebook, writing stuff down, watching him like get revelations for the current story arc. But then the rest of the time it's just like, dude, step back.
And there's the argument, Tark, that I think one or two of the things he had said, worded in a different way, maybe aren't 100% incorrect, right? That's the thing too. To say to somebody, hey, if you stream and you do it for fun and you have 5 people watching you every time you do it, you kind of don't understand what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this particular aspect of streaming as a business, right? Yeah. That is very different. The way I just worded that says the exact same thing that I honestly believe he was trying to say.
Without belittling
he was trying to
others.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to crap on small streamers, but that's exactly how the statement came off.
I think he was. I think he has such an ego.
Oh, he definitely has an ego, but a lot of streamers do. I don't hold that against him.
His numbers and his rise in the 14 category made him think he was up here, and it's a status symbol, like that he can lord over others. He said it with his tweet. He said it with his take on the streamers. Just his whole attitude is just kind of condescending. Like I did a Twitch Prime.
So can I say something, because hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to hit on something you just said there, because I wanted to give the benefit of the doubt because I don't know him, right? Sure. And maybe he meant what I just said. I'm talking about streaming as a business. When you stream to 2 or 5 people, that's not the conversation I'm trying to have right now. And honestly, most streamers that are in the 2 to 5 viewers category aren't me. where because of other things I do, I'm acutely aware of the back end of streaming and YouTube as a business. I just choose not to engage in it on this platform, on Ready Check Radio. So, but something you said there makes me think maybe you're right. Maybe it was, yeah, he's got a little bit of an ego, and a lot of streamers do. I don't necessarily hold that against people. Some have earned it, some haven't, whatever. I'll silently judge you, right? But what makes me think you're probably right is that there was no follow-up that I saw that said, dude, I really worded that poorly.
Yeah.
That came off as a totally different point than what I was trying to make.
There is something he said in that first video that I just remembered from his other ones. In every one that he's done this, it has always been, Twitter triggers me. I don't think about what I'm saying because it's damages my mental health.
Get off Twitter.
Every single time.
Just get off.
And he said, I've deleted it. And he's deleted it 3 times now. 4 times.
Just stay off of it. Like,
yeah, get off Twitter.
Twitter can be a bad trigger for a lot of people. Just don't be on it. Just don't be on it.
Go ahead, Tark. Finish up your thought there so we can move on.
So yeah, to finish up, like, he knows he has issues. I deal with depression myself, but I don't take it out on others that are coming to watch me game. If you have this long mental health issue, like your friend said, it's his responsibility. He should have systems in place that is like, you know what? I'm realizing he's got to have self-awareness, especially if he's going to be public and have a camera shown on him. He's got to have systems in place. You nailed it with his takes. They're both just horribly, just politely fuck off on both of those. And when you do an apology, like this apology was a non-apology. It was deflecting. It was all deflecting. There was nothing that like harnessed the responsibility. He blamed his mental illness instead of accepting it and trying to find solutions. So it's not even Final Fantasy XIV related. It was Twitter related. It's just because his main category is 14 that we're even talking about it. So it's like, I'm just
I mean, he's never gonna see this because he's not one of the 100 people that watch. I guarantee. Although he does kind of seek this stuff out, from what I understand. So his name will not be in the title.
The reactions are better entertainment than his. Stuff.
Yeah, so what I mean,
that's
do you guys watch
view
South
farming.
Park at all?
Would you watch what?
South Park.
Oh yeah.
Know that oil spill episode with all the fake apologies? No, I'm sorry. That's instantly what comes to mind.
I mean, I wish him well. Take care of yourself first and foremost.
Yes,
I know. I know you're making money off of this, and it's your job. Like, I can fully respect that, and any revenue hit here, there, or anywhere, just like in a regular day job, is something you got to manage and think through and find ways to compensate, but not at the expense of your mental health, man. I wish you well. I hope you get back to doing what you seem to enjoy doing when things aren't going the way they're going right now, and I wish you luck. They were horribly bad takes. I 100% disagree with the takes. There we go. Let's move on.
Yes, please.
Yes. So, Summer Game Fest. Keynote just wrapped, maybe about an hour and a half before we came to the show today. And there was, we were worried. I was like, man, this is going to be like a half-hour show. I think we can spend 15, 20 minutes on, just getting some basic pyro stuff out. And then 10 minutes, 15 minutes on, what I had so far. And so I gave it to the guys, and I was like, look, I desperately need something. Pick a topic, something there's always something that Flynn or Tark or myself want to discuss, but it's like such an off topic that we kind of just, there are in our evergreen file, right? They sit in the file until we have shows like this where there's not a lot. But I did give them the note. Hopefully Square will have something at Summer Game Fest. And if so, I'll make sure to add it to the show notes. You don't have to add it. Tark, I'm going to throw this one to you because the first thing we saw from Square was Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and I know you are looking forward to this one for iOS and Android. I'm going to run the trailer. Tell me what you thought of the trailer. What do they got news-wise? I know there's like a registration or something happening. What's up?
Yes, registration for you can
Looks like
pre-register.
somebody's already in.
I'm already pre-registered. As soon as I saw it, I was like, and I'm in. Okay. So yeah, you can pre-register and be part of the closed beta that's going to happen early July for about a week. It's only for Android devices at this time, though. I'm hoping this comes out.
The beta test?
The beta test right now. This one that they're pre-registering for is only for Android devices. I am a little disappointed with with Genshin and Star Rail being such huge successes. Like, I want to see more companies take these mobile games to also to the consoles, so that if you're home and you want to play it, you can play it at home, and you're on the go, then you can play it. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case here, unfortunately. I think this could be a ripe opportunity for console, but it looks great. They're diving into all the Final Fantasy VII parts of timelines. Looks like some new stuff regarding Sephiroth and backstory for him. I can't wait to get my hands on it. This is gonna be awesome.
Oh, not Firiga.
I couldn't care less because it's mobile, so I will watch all the cinematics from it on YouTube, and I will be done. I'm just not a mobile gamer, but Flynn, you got it pre-registered. You're pretty pumped too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they take the Dissidia Opera Omnia approach.
I think they will.
Because it's just cosmetic gacha for the most part.
I thought this was the one that they were going to do like Final Fantasy XV's mobile, where it was like a per episode type thing.
It's just, I remember jumping in Appy's chat a while back. It's like the way they got it with the floors, it looked more like the Opera Omnia approach.
So yeah, I think it's going to be Opera Omnia, but it's not going to be cosmetic gacha.
They did mention that it was only cosmetics a while back.
No, they said it was going to be weapons. The gacha.
Yeah,
weapons.
you're right. So it's free to play via mobile, but there will be loot box. It's a loot box based game containing random weapons. Some weapons will also include new costumes. So that's definitely like the typical Genshin Impact gacha system.
I mean, you'll get all the characters, but yeah, if you want them to be powerful and have their weapons, it's Opera Omnia style. As far
as the biggest reason I'm excited though is as English people, we never got experience before Crisis as an official English release.
So we'll get to see parts of that. That's gonna be pretty cool.
What, until the remake thing? You guys never got it there?
The mobile phone game.
The original, Crisis? Before Crisis. You guys never got it there.
I've never had access to it or played it.
Oh, wow.
I never had an English release at all.
I did not know that. Was that mobile as well?
Yeah, that was I think that was on mobile.
That's
Japanese specific phones.
That's why I don't know that. I don't know what it is. I'm not up with I'm not down with mobile.
So before Crisis was the story of the Turks.
Yeah. No, I know what the story was. I just didn't play it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope it's good for you guys. I do like the art kind of confuses me at points. Some of it looks like really, really, really good, and then you'll see another character that almost looks like it's an entirely different art style. And it gets a little weird, but
that's where they look chibi-esque to the gameplay and cutscenes.
Yeah.
Just also the OG7 as well.
Yeah, I can appreciate the like nostalgia that's really trying to hit there, but it's also kind of jarring when you go from it's like you take Cloud from 7 Remake, and on a loading screen he becomes Cloud from PlayStation 1, and you're like, what the hell just happened here?
But the actual wielding guy looks so cool.
Speaking of Cloud, we got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was shown off as well. Now, I already had stuff in the show notes for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Some of this we're going to hold. We'll come back to it. Let's stick to, since we're talking about the Summer Game Fest, what was shown off at the trailer and like the one or two things that maybe were shown in the last slide that people might be surprised about. Flynn, I'm going to let you go first on this one since we let Tart go first on Ever Crisis.
God, this looks so beautiful as a game.
And that's
No,
all he has to
PS5.
say on that.
Power of the PS5.
Matt was, in the streaming me, I was watching and said, this game is so pretty. Like, just looking at locations like Cosmo Canyon. I freaked out with Cosmo Canyon. It is everything I hoped that scene would be with, can never remember the grandfather's name.
Oh.
Because it's German. It's
Yeah, I forget his name too.
Gubenhagen or something along those lines. But, like, it's nice seeing the combat evolve from integrate again with the co-op attacks. Nice seeing Red 13 actually participate in combat now.
Yeah.
So we get to see a bit more.
And I know,
so
like
much.
one of the things we're all really interested on, Bugenhagen. Yes.
Bugenhagen.
Hey, what's up, Kronos?
Kronos.
What's up, my friend? I know one of the things we're really interested in seeing is where this story goes, right? Because if you played through the first remake, it ends in a spot that you're like, okay. Now I'm not quite sure we're playing the same Final Fantasy VII anymore. Not exactly sure where we're going here. So, like, this is going to be the big one, Tark, that really starts to who lives, who dies, what story beats make the transition from PS1 to the remake, what story beats totally don't. You know, those changes that are alluded to and semi-started in the first one, this is where a lot of them are going to happen. Whether, you know, there's a third one and a fourth one and a fifth one, however the long they stretch this damn thing out. This is where a lot of the story beats you're going to be looking for are either going to be included, not included, changed, modified, whatever.
Was there a question there? It looks
No.
okay. It looks amazing. I don't know if they're doing like zones like 16 is doing, or if they're doing like an open world. Because like those cards, those Twitter things that we're going to talk about, like they said that we can, it was going to be expansive and we can explore. So I don't know if there's going to be like an open world element or if it's going to be zone based. I love seeing the dual techs and triple techs. Didn't really see much in the way of how they're handling air combat, because I think that was a supreme weakness for remake. Also don't know how we're going to be dealing with multiple party members. Like, one of my issues was like, okay, we had 4 characters. We're gonna have at least 6 now, because we got Red, we got Yuffie that was shown off in gameplay. Depending how big this game is, we could also have Vincent, Sid, Katsi.
Where's our Vincent?
I would love to see like a
Where
Final
is this
Fantasy X hot swap, and then you could have characters with loadouts of materials, like, oh, I need like this set of materia for this particular instance. I'm gonna hot swap. There's so many still questions, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. And apparently early 2024, so less than a year. So this is gonna be
so all of a
great.
sudden, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but it was like all of a sudden this week, even before Summer Game Fest, boom, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shit everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. Ads, Twitter, bap. We're going to get into some of the things they said on Twitter. 1 or 2 of them we're going to knock out right here because they're at the end of the trailer. But we knew earlier this week, winter. Earlier this week, winter for release. And then at the end of this trailer at Summer Game Fest today, it says January 2024 or early 2024. So I guess technically, if we're sticking with winter, that could be January, February. I think March,
Early
even though
March,
technically winter still is a little further than most people would expect. So probably I would guess a mid to late February, maybe very early March type thing, which would be nice for them because it'll get it in before the end of their fiscal year, right? As long as it makes it before March 31st. And it also said, like, weird little call out, weird flex here, 2 discs.
That blew my mind.
Really? I mean, the last one was too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it was PS4 versus PS. Yes, it was. There was a data disc and a play disc.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
In the PlayStation 4 version. And granted, it's PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, but it's still a Blu-ray disc, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So PS4 disc had 50 gig capacity. and the Ultra Blu-rays have got 100 gig capacity.
Yeah.
for PS5.
So maybe it's impressive on the 2 discs on the PlayStation 4 versus 2 discs on the PlayStation 5 and the size capacity there. But I wasn't like, oh my God, it's 2 discs. It was like, oh yeah, the last one was.
The way they
Okay, wow,
advertise
that's really big.
the way they advertise it, I'm wondering if they're like saying like, no, you're gonna need to like halfway through this adventure, you're gonna need to swap to the other disc.
Why on earth would you need to do that in the modern gaming world? Right?
Because if you need to download and install the whole thing, it's 300 gigs.
Have you seen the NBA 2K23's install size?
Yeah.
That's 200 gig.
Yep.
And on a PS5, where it's the base is what 650 gig, like you take up 300 gigs, be something.
Yeah, like if they do the way that this actually run these days, it probably would be a checking if you're in disc 1 area, make sure disc 1 disc is in, and whether in disc 2 area, you make sure disc 2 area disc is in.
Yeah.
Because it's the key.
I can't remember, Doc. I don't remember if it was or not. And I tried to go back and find things, but I couldn't.
I remember advertisers.
I knew it was 2 discs because it just ran. I was like, wait, wasn't the last one 2 discs? And I ran upstairs to check, and I was like, yeah, there was a data disc and a play disc. But I don't know if they ever like tacked that onto the end of some trailer somewhere, and I just don't remember it off the top of my head or anything. But damn, did the trailer look good. Did the trailer look good. Although, you know what Jeff Keighley did a couple of times? And that dude's a dick, man.
He blue-balled the audience more than once.
More than once.
DoorDash, baby. DoorDash.
Again, I like Jeff Keighley as a person and what he's done for the world. I hate him as a host for things, but that's a personal. I just don't think he's terribly great at it or engaging of a personality. But mad respect for the guy. I have tremendous.
He's been getting
respect
better. He's been getting better.
He has. You're right. We said that I think on Gaming Gumbo and on this show, maybe the last Game Awards.
I did think he kept the guest on a bit too long during the show. If you noticed,
yeah, they got to show some stuff. Nick Cage was there. That was funny.
Yeah, if you noticed at the end of that one, Nick Cage was trying to leave.
Yeah, we had already covered that like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, what is this doing at Summer Game Fest? We covered this on MMO Bomb 2 weeks ago. Anyway, so at one point he says, speaking of Final Fantasy, and then throws it into an Uber Eats ad.
Yep.
DoorDash.
DoorDash and Taco Bell.
Yeah, and then at the end, when they're getting ready to unveil like the secret finale, which ended up being Final Fantasy VII Rebirth here, the way he introduced it, like he knows exactly what he was doing. That dick. He's like from a company that is brought us RPGs, the likes we've never been seen, storytelling and stuff. He sets it up so that it's Square Enix without saying Square Enix. It's Final Fantasy without saying it's Final Fantasy. And then he says, time to sit down and watch because the rumors were true. And then shows this. I was like, you dick.
These are the rumors we came here for.
I kind of knew he was just playing games until he said the rumors were true. And then I typed in RCR chat, here we go, boys and girls.
FF9.
It's like, why would you say that? There haven't been any rumors about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah. What rumors? Here we go, Final Fantasy IX Remake. Yeah, Final Fantasy.
That was the only rumor.
Yeah, Final Fantasy IX Remake. No. Knew exactly what he was doing, but our friends over at Project Memoria,
so beautiful.
This is not a commercial product. You will not be able to buy this or anything. This is a labor of love from a bunch of people just doing a Final Fantasy IX thing in current engines. They put together about a 20-minute demo of what this game could look like if you decided to do it. And man, does I want to buy it from them.
They should just reach out and go, yeah, do you want to make this for us?
Yeah, Square Enix gives them a call. And they're like, how far are you?
How far along? If we threw like some millions of dollars at you and you fold you in, make it official.
Right, just based on this video, hands up, who would actually play the hell out of this?
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Oh my God, I'd be all over this.
Jeff Grubb reconfirmed this week from his sources right over on Giant Bombcast that, yeah, the Final Fantasy IX Remake is definitely a thing. It is definitely still a thing. And it's like one of the few from the NVIDIA leaks that hasn't actually come to fruition. That and what, a Tactics remaster?
Tactics remasters. Yep, those are the only two left. From Square Enix, at least.
Look at VV.
Yeah, I know. It looks so good.
Just look at
the
Alexandria.
look good. Alexandria, yeah, it's oh my God, it's alive. It looks so good. What was encouraging to me about all this reporting in rumor mills is apparently that the thinking is that the battle system is going to be traditional to like the ATB. So they might do some tweaks to it, but I'm encouraged to have a Final Fantasy be, as we talked about, our Final Fantasy of our nostalgia and our youth.
Yeah, which is what 9 is, realistically.
You mean you want a turn-based Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
But turn-based doesn't sell.
They're so full of shit.
That's Square Enix. We got to make an action game. Get that younger audience.
I think there's a couple games that would beg to differ that maybe have crossed
prove
million
it.
units sold.
Prove it.
Did you congratulate something turn-based recently?
Yeah, let's congratulate Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler 2. Come on.
Why?
They just crossed 3 million. I think Octopath Traveler 1 crossed 3 million, right? And then Octopath Traveler 2 has crossed 1 million. Yeah, they sell turn-based. You do it right, you do it beautiful, it'll sell. It's good. Now just bring Octopath Traveler 1 to PlayStation. I would appreciate that.
Triangle Strategy over 1 million as well, and Live Alive, as we reported last week, was over 500,000, probably closing in on 1 million. There's some gaps in that data, so.
And now it just came out for Steam and PS4, so.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was like the first month, and it was Switch only at that time.
Yep.
Get closer to Live Alive 2.
Maybe. He said 1 million, and he would feel comfortable pitching it to Square to make a sequel. So, going back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, by the way, on Twitter, they did answer some questions, and some of them are duplicates here, but I want to get your reactions to this. So, Flynn, they said, how will players journey through the world outside of Midgar in Rebirth? They said players will be able to journey across the wide and multifaceted world with a high degree of freedom, experience a myriad of different stories along the way. So not quite, calling it open world, but saying, yeah, don't worry, you can have plenty to explore.
Yeah, especially after watching the trailer, we are seeing a lot of locations.
Yeah.
And some new world map icons as well on the navigation. So I think we're going to get a decent amount of exploring. No more just stuck in a city.
Do I need to play Remake to enjoy Rebirth? No. We have made preparations so that players who did not get a chance to play the first game can fully enjoy 7 Rebirth. To me, that sounds like, like Mass Effect, right? Where
sure.
There's like, when you boot up Mass Effect 2, if you don't import data, you get a cutscene to kind of catch you up on the main story beats, and then your characters are at a certain level already to start from there. I mean, that would make the most sense to me, right?
We got 2 discs. It just occurred to me maybe like part of one of the discs is like a 2-hour cutscene catch up. Like, oh, you didn't play this? Well, here, watch this.
It's a movie.
Watch this cutscene movie that takes up half the disc.
As long as it's not a Wildlife Chronicles 2, just like, use the first game, complete it so you can actually play the second one because you're locked out.
Has the battle system changed from Remake? In Rebirth, new comrades will join you in battle. Obviously, if you played the original, you probably knew that. And you can cooperate with other party members in even closer ways than before.
Dual text and triple text.
So
like
putting a
little
chrono trigger in my Final Fantasy Rebirth.
I love it. It looks awesome.
I think that was also referencing the scene we saw where it was only Barrett and Red 13 in the party at once.
Yep. There's a part there. Yeah, there's going to be fixed scenarios where you only get certain characters. I just want to know when you have the full large party with at least 6, characters now. How are we going to work that? Because I don't want to be micromanaging 6 characters and bringing in certain ones for certain fights and managing their loadouts every single time. That's going to be absolutely annoying.
Will it have original music? Many new tracks have been created for Rebirth, and we'll be making some new arrangements of tracks from Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
What are some of the key things to look forward to in the Rebirth story? Players will witness a chain of narrative developments that lie at the very heart of the Final Fantasy VII story while discovering each character's destiny. So kind of I'm not ready to answer that at this point.
Yeah. Non-answer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There will be stories, basically what that says. Yes, there will be story.
Yeah, there will be story. And then the last question was like, how is development progressing? And they were like, yeah, everything's going smoothly and according to plan, and we're working on nailing down a release date. That came out on their Twitter like bang, 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 bang over the course of a day earlier this week.
They were doing one a day, I think, weren't they? Were they doing one a day, or is it every so often?
So it was like, where is all this buzz and hype being pushed for Final Fantasy VII Remake all of a sudden? Like, we all knew it was coming probably late this year at the earliest, early to mid next year at the latest. Like, there wasn't, and we knew all the answers to these questions. We could have guessed. Like, you could have asked me these questions, and I could have given you pretty close to the PR answers that they gave. Like, Tark, I have no doubt you could have done it too. Like, hey, is there going to be new music? And you would say, well, there's probably going to be some new arrangements of old songs and maybe a new track or two here. Like, you don't have to work there to get these. Where is all of this, like, push without information or new information coming from? And there's speculation that it actually could be related to Final Fantasy XVI, Flynn. Because...
Tangentially?
Tangentially.
Thank you.
Because there are some insiders and some sources, so this is all alleged, saying that Square Enix is slightly panicking over the Final Fantasy XVI PS5 pre-orders, that they are tracking behind Final Fantasy XV's, and that's even taking into account the fact that 15 was available on more platforms in launch than just the PlayStation 5. So even just that, taking that into account, that they're a little worried about the pre-order sales. And yeah, okay, pre-order sales are basically your guaranteed day ones. That is not what you will escape day one with. So this game will sell well. Like, there's no doubt in my mind it will. But
as long as the game's good, yeah.
Square Enix, the king of over forecasting, if this stuff is true, and you're over forecasting on your mainline Final Fantasies, that's not so good. And maybe that's why you start pushing the hype train a little earlier than you may have intended on the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth project. What do you think, Flynn?
Yeah, it could be that. There's a part of my mind is like, something's going wrong with Kingdom Hearts 4. They want you to forget it exists for a while. And I don't know why my brain went there. But in terms of 16, everyone I know that loves Final Fantasy has pre-ordered the game. There's not many I know. It's like, yeah, I'm not picking this up. So I'm not sure. We all know with Square Enix, like, Guardians of the Galaxy didn't sell well. We don't care. And then, all of a sudden, Octopath 2 sold 1 million units. Oh my God, yes. So who knows what's up in the monetary departments,
Yeah, and again, I mean, pre-orders aren't day one sales. They're confirmed day one sales. Yeah. They're not your total day one sales. Day one sales could absolutely blow it away and surprise the hell out of everybody, including Square Enix, Tark. But for them to be looking at Final Fantasy XVI pre-orders and, sure, comparing it to 15, taking into account the fewer number of platforms, I think there's other things they're not taking into account here. Pre-order culture is also so very different now.
Yeah.
Fewer people pre-order now just because you've gotten burned too many times over the years.
And if you're buying digitally, why do you need to pre-order?
The gap between 13 and 15 was also a hell of a lot longer than the gap between 15 and 16.
Yep.
So you probably had a lot more pent-up hype. I don't know if I'd panic about it. I get it. It's a business. They have to watch those types of things. And if they're concerned, particularly on a flagship release, but is that why we're seeing all of a sudden? I mean, they were going to show Rebirth at Summer Game Fest, so we were getting this new trailer today regardless. But is some of the other advertisements everywhere and the Twitter stuff, is that maybe reaction to the pre-orders? Or was this just coinciding with, hey, this is when we're going to start our hype train for Rebirth? And by the way, some people are a little concerned.
I just think it was a little hype train to get us to Summer Game Fest trailer. Even the one that dropped today, I think was basically a standard please look forward to it kind of, question answer card. We know that Square has this history of this did not meet our expectations. We've heard it so much that I just think that their expectations for themselves is just wrong. Like, they need to reevaluate where their expectations lie with all their properties. They're just way off base. If they're having problems with the pre-order sales and their numbers, and like I said just a moment ago, like with the age of digital now, like there's no need to pre-order digital. You can get it. Like, it's available. You're not going to run out of digital. That would be
but that was the
insane.
same thing at the release of 15.
Not so much. Like, we were still building our digital libraries. Now everyone's trying to get into digital. I'm going to stick with the physical because that's just how I roll. But, we have a console that's digital only now, for crying out loud. So everyone's building their digital libraries. I think their day one, more importantly, their week one numbers are going to be absolutely astronomical. But if their expectations
numbers that
are out of
Yoshi
whack,
P had joked about before not wanting to see.
yeah. Depending on their expectations, though, we hear, I'm sorry, it did not meet our expectations. We're selling Creative Business Unit 3 for $500,000. So,
could you imagine a world where Square Enix has to report that a mainline Final Fantasy, Flynn, did not meet expectations?
No, I really can't.
Like, is that even fathomable to you?
No, because
I
logically, this ramp up is purely because 16 is 2 weeks away. We've done OPR, not done. Game's coming out.
That's a great point, though. It's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Have you seen a Twitch ad for it? A YouTube ad for it? Like, I have a side banner ad. I haven't seen anything.
No ads. Just occasional YouTube video, and nothing like splashing out at me as far as like Google ads or Twitch ads or anything like that. Nothing like
just burgers and energy drinks and some other things.
Yeah, I mean, they got all these partnerships. Here's one. Sony PlayStation 5 is the official console of Final Fantasy 16, but did you know that there's an official Sony TV of Final Fantasy 16 as well?
Wait, who makes TVs, high-end TVs?
Sony.
It might be the same people that make the consoles. Yeah.
There's an official TV of Final Fantasy 16, not just an official console. The Sony Bravia XR 4K HDR display is now a partner of Final Fantasy 16. So there you go. And then Flynn, you found this energy drink. What the hell is this?
Something I want to drink. Like, I don't know if you got the image up, but just the can artwork looks amazing. But I found it more for the back of the can talking about the demo.
What do they got there?
The drink releases the day before the game releases. So the demo is definitely out by then.
Well, I mean, it would have to be, right? Like, there's no point
I bet
in it.
It's going to be out next week, if anything.
Yeah, it'll probably be out on 12th.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like, so they have that Los Angeles stream on the 11th, and most people have thought, okay, it'll probably coincide with that or pretty close to it. Mm-hmm. It's now looking like it might be the 12th, because there appears to be sponsorship deals with some popular content creators like Ludwig. to stream 16 on June 12th, which means they would already have to have access to the demo at that point. So if the demo came out on the 11th and they make these arrangements to stream on the 12th, or it comes out early on the 12th, you could play it later in the day. There were other content creators who had like announcements for the 11th, but then they were taken down. So maybe that was just like, hey, I scheduled this as a placeholder and forgot about it type deal. We don't know. But yeah, content creators are rumored to be streaming this on the 12th. So the demo would have to be out by then, which means you're 4 days away from playing the demo of Final Fantasy XVI. We'll see. And I brought one last thing. A lot of people don't know that Square Enix actually publishes Power Wash Simulator. If you watch this show, you do, because we give Tark crap about the game all the time, and obviously we've said it's Square Enix. But to
join me cleaning Midgar.
Cleaning Midgar. To be specific, it's actually part of the Square Enix Collective, the indie publishing arm of Square. And they did an interview over at Games Industry. Excuse me, hiccups. With Timmy Adevi, the director of indie publishing at Square Enix. And they said, hey, not a lot of people know that this game that has over 7 million players is a Square Enix title. And she said, hey, I'm not surprised. But you know why? It's our DNA. We really want to always put the devs and the game in focus. It's less about it being part of the Square Enix collective. We're proud of it. We like it, but it's intentional that we don't put collective branding all over everything, and we kind of direct it at the devs. And you know what? I like that.
Yeah.
I like that approach.
Absolutely.
Let's head over and do Love It or Leave It. Love It or Leave It is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here on Ready Check Radio. It's where I give you some Square Enix thing. Could be a game, could be a feature in a game, could be a press release, something they did, or even just something tangential to them that I want to put out here. And you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it, cast it aside, never to be seen again. No fence setting here. And so this week, gents, I have a hypothetical for you. A hypothetical, Tark.
Yeah.
You get a new Final Fantasy MMORPG. You get a brand new Unreal 5, Final Fantasy VII MMORPG. If you want Yoshi P and team and Business Creative 3 behind it, you can have them. If you want a new team, doesn't matter. You can have what you want out of this new Final Fantasy MMORPG. But every second you've spent in Final Fantasy XIV is gone because Square Enix has to shut it down to make it happen. Do you love the idea, or do you leave it and hang on to 14? What do you got, Tark?
Do we have any information regarding?
There is no gray. No, there is no gray area. Tonight,
So
Final Fantasy XIV turns off. Tonight, 14 turns off. Tomorrow, Final Fantasy new MMORPG turns on, and you know nothing about it besides who created it if you want a particular team behind it, and you know the engine's Unreal 5.
I'm gonna have to go leave it then. I don't switch MMOs without knowing what I'm getting into. I'll do one at a time, maybe, do the free month, buy it, do the free month that you usually give to try it out. And if it's good, then I'll switch. I'm not a multiple MMO person, so I'm gonna have to leave it without knowing what I'm getting. No, thank you.
Interesting. Flynn?
Yeah, I think it's a leave it from me as well. It's not even the case of just is 14 going away. My free company in 14 has become another family to me, and I don't know if they would also transfer as well. So it's a case of
they'd have to. 14 doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly, we're screwed. Just might disappear into
they'd have
FIFA.
I love it. Give me a new MMO. I don't fucking care. Shut the old one off. I don't care. Would I be sad? Yeah, sure. Why not? But
if it's great, Yeah, fine.
No,
I'll leave 14.
No,
I
you don't. You
no,
don't
I did
get
it with
that.
WoW to
You don't
14.
get that. You don't get that. Yeah, and you got burnt. Initially.
I know. Then went back to WoW. I'm sad.
I love it. I always love the
new
new sexy. Why not? And
New
then if they
FFMMO,
shut down
just people
14,
don't-
I'll find other games to play with my friends. It's fine.
That's true. There's plenty of
There's plenty.
games.
There's
Just
plenty.
look over our shoulders. Just it's more
That's
than
going to
enough.
do it for us here today on the Relic Grind. No gaming gumbo this Saturday. Tomorrow morning, driving up to Canada to try to qualify for Final Fantasy TCG Nationals again. It's so close last time. So close.
You'll get it. You'll get
So
it.
close. Got bounced out of
Yeah.
Top Cut. Was very close. Don't go anywhere, though, chat, because next up we've got, you know her, you love her, Faye Death. How are you, Faye?
I'm good. How about y'all?
I can't complain. I can't
I miss the
complain.
shades.
I mean,
You don't have your shades on here.
I might have to bring them back, but it did make the screen a little bit difficult to work with.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some like dark moments in Icewind Dale that you're like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure
got
where
a
I'm
little-
going.
Yeah, that may have been why some of our runs were not as successful last week as I wanted to. But I have powered up. I'm hoping to speed through some more levels in this dungeon. Maybe we can finally kick this thing. We got through a very hard level last week. Even more danger this week, but it'll be a good time.
Nice. Don't go anywhere, chat. Give us a minute or two to take things down, relabel it, send it back up, and Faye will be right back. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode of the Relic Grind. Until then, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me over on Twitch at Within Crisis, YouTube at Within Crisis Podcast. Just keep a mind out. I like to swear when I'm on my own streams.
You do whatever you want, brother. Tark.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming. Doing Savage, still doing Ultima Weapon. And then Saturday nights here on Ready Check Radio, playing Final Fantasy XV, where we have fun with our monster truck. It's awesome.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO on Twitter, and you'll know every time we go live with a stream, a podcast, or we're just hanging out, wearing our sunglasses at night. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.